Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. Welcome to the very first episode of 2021. You're on Muslim Network TV. I'm your host, Muhammad Maxwell Hassan, for today's show for Canada Today Youth Edition. Whoa, I know 2020 seems like yesterday, but you know what? That was a historical, monumental year of experience for us all. It has definitely a lot of downs, but there's been some highs. And you know, as they say, with every dark cloud, there's a silver lining. You know, look at the light at the end of the tunnel. You know, there are peaks and valleys. Use whatever you want to know, but you know, let's look at this year and start off strong and start off with a clean, fresh slate, high hopes, beaming smiles, and a brighter future for us all, inshallah. And so, one way to kind of have that bright future is the importance of mentorship. Now, I have a question for you. You know, if you're a university student, a college student, or maybe you're just getting your foot in the door in terms of different industries, how hard is it to find a mentor these days? I'd say it's pretty tough, wouldn't you say? Like, it's really tough to find someone who's willing to lend a helping hand, someone to kind of show you the ropes, someone to really guide you, try to avoid certain pitfalls. Maybe somebody might be hearing this and say, well, what is a mentor anyway? That's what this is all about. And why is it important for you and I to have mentors in our lives? So that's today's discussion, to set things straight in the beginning for this new year. How are we going to achieve our goals and our accomplishments with the assistance of a mentor? So with us today, we got two very, very special guests. First guest we have is Shaan Mehdi. He's a 27-year-old and he comes from a Pakistani background, mashallah. He moved to Canada in 2014 for his undergraduate degree in political science, and he's been living here ever since. Currently, Shaan is working in fleet management at Oakville Hydro, but prior to that, he spent 16 years in the Middle East in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. He's always been exposed to different cultures and ways of living. Again, there's no secret to us, like in Canada. And as a result, he is sensitive to the needs and requirements that for different individuals seek to achieve their goals. And this aspect of his upbringing helped him form the basis of TMP. What's that, you might ask? Well, I'll tell you in a moment or two. Since their mission is to provide a personalized path for success for underserved students across the globe. And every student deserves a second chance and deserves a chance at a prosperity. So Jazakallah khairan, Shaan, for joining us. It's awesome to hear from you. And another guest with us here today. Look at her. Beaming smile, everything. The light's just glowing on her. We got Atiya Bussun. And she joined Max Mentors as a volunteer after experiencing firsthand the program's positive impact on her career. She's currently co-leading the Montreal chapter. So for anybody who's in Montreal, you know, this is a shout out to you. Atiya firmly believes in the importance of early career mentorship and is passionate about making mentorship accessible to young Muslim professionals. She obtained her bachelor's degree in accounting from Concordia University, and mashallah is currently working towards getting her CPA auditor title while working at Deloitte Montreal. And in her free time, fun fact, she loves watercolor painting and reading books. I mean, look at that powerful combination right there. Her favorite books are Outlier by Malcolm Gladwell and Reclaim Your Heart. Look at that. Look at that. She's a reader and got auditor like by day. Lots of things to unpack here. It's awesome to have you here, Sister Atiya, to join us for this conversation about mentorship. Now let's go ladies first. And one of the biggest things that I like to do on this show is to kind of get a sense of our guest's story. You know, everybody has their own unique background, their own unique fingerprint, their own unique DNA, and how they actually carved out a certain path for themselves. So as a starting point, Sister Atiya, can you kindly share with us your story about how you got involved with Max Mentorship, how mentoring became such a big part of your life, and how it shaped who you are today?
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Good evening. Thank you very much for giving me the platform to talk about my experience and Max Mentors in general. So my story with Max Mentor go back in 2018 when Max first launched in Montreal. You know, during that time, I recently graduated from Concordia University. I just finished my bachelor degree. I had an internship. I was working at a company, but I was still unsure. Like every new graduate, I was pretty much lost, so I was sort of asking advice left and right to anyone and everyone about what I'm supposed to do and what's my next step. I have goals, but you feel lost. I wasn't sure on how I'm supposed what I'm supposed to do to achieve them. So, it's very much, it was just like one day, 2 days before the application deadline for Max Mentors here in Montreal. A friend of mine sent me a text message, and she was like, hey, maybe you might be interested in that program. And, I went to the website. I was looking at, what Max Mentors do. But I was learning more about, the different events, about the resources that they have. I was like, okay, wow, this program is for me. This is what I'm looking for guidance, and here is the program who will provide me with a mentor for 1 year. And it happens to be a Muslim program, so definitely my mentor will be someone I can relate to. So this is where it started. I got into the mentorship program back in 2018, and I think it has been a successful mentorship program for me, because my mentor, even though that 1 year is over, he is still mentoring me, and we're still in contact even today. Before the show, he texted me good luck. So that's a bit how I got involved with Max Mentors. I just wanted to thank Max and about the work, and I want people to know more about what we do. So that's why I joined after as a volunteer and started being an active part of the mentorship program.
So look at that. It's not just a one-time thing. One thing led to another, and here you are now, and you're a living, breathing example, an advocate for mentorship. And again, you're wherever you go, it's with you at all times. So how cool is that? We're gonna unpack that a bit more. Some people might be asking, what's Max? Yeah, my middle name is Maxwell, but it's not related. It stands for something else. You'll see what that's all about. So there's no confusion there. But yeah, Max, mentorship. We're going to unpack that a little bit more for our viewers. But let me turn it over to Sean. I mean, talk to us, Sean. How did you get involved? I mean, with your international experience, where has mentorship played such a key role in your life and shaped you?
Hey everyone, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much, Mohammed, for having me on the show. Really, really appreciate it. Very excited to talk to you today about mentorship in general and give some insight into TMP further on down into the program. So similar to Atiya, actually, I was in a stage in my life, a phase in my life where, after I finished my undergraduate degree, I thought I knew exactly what I wanted to do while I was studying. And unfortunately, that didn't pan out the way I wanted to. So I kind of hit a dead end. And, it was the first time in my life where I wasn't in a routine where I was just kind of doing what was expected of me. It was now I was in a place in my life where whatever I do, it's up to me. The decisions I make are going to affect me from now on. And I can't rely on anyone else. So it was kind of daunting. I'm sure for everybody who's gone through this stage in their life, it's pretty daunting. What helped me the most was support from my family, my brother, my father, my sister, my brother-in-law, my mother, who all, alhamdulillah, have been, in positions of great experience in their lives. They've had great things to offer to me, to help me gain some more insights and to proceed, in a more streamlined manner. So firstly, the advice and the strength and the support that I got from my family was hugely critical. Secondly, I was exposed to some professionals just purely due to luck, just because of the network that I was blessed to have at my disposal, due to my father, my family, my other family friends, people that I know in my day-to-day. Purely because of that network, I was exposed to people who were able to help me, give me specific guidance, allow me to, properly tailor myself and to basically sell myself in the best possible manner. So that kind of gave me the idea that if this is something that I need, and I'm in a society such as Canada, which has everything, at our disposal, alhamdulillah, we don't have any issues, or we don't have some issues that people across the world face. I thought that what are people in societies that have no exposure to any mentorship, how must they be coping? How must they be dealing with their issues? So, it's insanely unfair. We all know about the unequal structure of the global society and inequality in the world, and how the structures are perpetuating that. So we're in a stage right now, we're in a pandemic, everyone's sitting at home. And what can we do? We all have our laptop. Everybody's has some extra time on their hand. Maybe I thought we can take 1 hour from our day or 1 hour from our week and go and talk to someone from across the world who may be able to help you, or even point you to the correct websites or correct resources on the internet. So that's kind of how I started. I then got in touch with my brother and got in touch with my childhood friend Ahmad, my brother Shayan, and my childhood friend Ahmad. And together we spent months, kind of going back and forth, tailoring our 12-week syllabus. And finally, in September, we launched with our first cohort, 26 students in Pakistan. And alhamdulillah, is going really well right now. And that's kind of how I had the whole seed of mentorship, formed in my head, and now how we are where we are.
Look at that, man. A lot of twists and turns, things, happen for a reason. And mashallah, it started like as a family endeavor. Look at how cool that is. So amazing. Jazakallah khair for sharing that. And for those viewers who are seeing the mentoring program that was part of the website, I'm sure you can expand on it maybe little on later on in the show to dive a bit more into those specifics and how it caters to those in need. And so let me bounce back to Sister Atiya for a moment, and curious to know, mashallah, with all your bubbling enthusiasm and things around mentorship, can you share with us some common observations that you noticed about the way how Muslim youth in particular look at mentorship? Is there some patterns? Is there some sort of general observations you've noticed? Do they know what a mentor is? Do they use mentorship? Like, what would you say are some things that you've noticed based on your experience?
So, based on my experience, while talking to mentees or when we're reviewing the application, because when you apply for the program, you have to fill in an application. And based on my own personal experience as well, there's always one item that one topic that always come up is about guidance. The young professional are looking for a role model that they can look up to and can provide guidance initially when they're starting in their career, right? Because we just graduate from university, and then we're all by ourselves. We don't necessarily have the network, we don't necessarily have the tools, the resources to guide us in our next step. So when they look at mentorship, youth usually are looking for a role model who can, give them a little pat in the back and be like, hey, you're on the right track, or maybe you should try this, something new, try to experience, try to take on new job opportunities. Maybe this is what your weakness is. Maybe try to work on it. This is what your strength is. Maybe you should focus on it. So having someone who have the experience, who has been in your shoes, who can understand what you're going through. This is what usually the young professional are looking for.
So I see the key word here is guidance. And I think that was echoed similarly to what Sean was mentioning. Sometimes, especially, we'll talk about the Canadian system for a moment. Typically, it's you go with elementary school. I mean, this is one standard way: elementary school, middle school, high school, college / university. That's one approach to it. Then after university or college, it's almost like, what do I do next? Now there's no program, there's nothing set in stone for you, or there's no instruction, there's no instruction manual. Now you kind of have to go carve out your own path. So I hear what you're saying in terms of guidance. So there's that component that really is needed and necessary within the Muslim community, especially among the youth. So Sean, what do you think? And any sentiments do you share? Like, what are some observations? Do people, maybe here's one thing I'm curious to know, like, how many people actually bother to look for a mentor? Like, if you were to do a ballpark figure just to say, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is mentorship for Muslim youth? What would you say? And then what does that tell you about the state of our ummah at this moment, at least in the Canadian context?
That's a very good point. I definitely think mentorship or the search for mentorship, the journey to find a mentor, is not as prioritized as it could be or as it should be for the Muslim youth, and maybe even in the youth in general. I feel like the idea of searching out and putting yourself out there, being a little vulnerable and asking for help, and kind of saying that, hey, I'm lost, I'm not really sure what I got to do. A lot of people are hesitant to do that and to kind of open themselves up fully. And I would say even more so in the Muslim community, that may be the case, primarily because we don't have as many mentors here, at least in the Canadian context, because there's less, obviously, Muslim citizens here than the rest of the population. But if we, or if there's a chance for people to kind of sell the idea of mentorship better, sell the usefulness and how it can honestly change your life, I think that's what's key today. That's what's needed, and that's kind of what I'm trying to do with my team, with my brother and Ahmad. We're trying to show to the rest of the world, or to show to people that, hey, if you go through this program, you're gonna come out with this, and you were here at the beginning, and now you're here. So I think this kind of graphical representation, or not even graphical, just if you can show it in an easy to absorb manner, I think that would be key in today's society. And I definitely think that as Canadian society becomes more and more multicultural, we are probably going to see in the next decade or so that immigration is going to increase. We're going to have more and more people from different cultures and different backgrounds. I feel like getting a mentorship system in place here before that would be even more integral, even more vital, because you don't want to start that when there's already a huge, when the demand is already there and you have no system in place. It doesn't really work. We would probably need to set up a structure in place, and things like Max Mentor, Atiya just explaining about that is incredible. I'm sure you even know about My Voice Canada. They're another Muslim youth group that work with the mentors, and they mentor Muslim youth here in Canada. So those kind of organizations, those are great. If they can, first of all, solidify what they already have, and secondly, scale up to a larger degree, I think we're going to be in good shape.
Sounds good. Yeah, man. I mean, there's always room for that. And when you mentioned, Paula, about the whole immigration component, what popped to my mind, Paula, was in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, when he was moving from Mecca to Medina. What was the first thing? One of the first things he did was he paired people up, right? Somebody from Medina to be someone with Mecca, because you got to know the way. And subhanAllah, you'll go around in circles if you try to do things on your own, or it's going to be just a long, difficult process. So if I can ask Sister Atiya now, having said that, we kind of got a little bit of observation. I'm going to leave it till the end in terms of like, how do you define a mentor? Because somebody might be wondering, what's a mentor all about? And there's so many different ways you can look at it, but I'm curious, what would you say are some of the common pitfalls or things, traps, so to speak, that people might fall into when it comes to mentorship? So let me give you, so we just spoke right now about having people try to do things all on their own. That's probably one big pitfall. That's one example. Or maybe another one could be relying solely on the mentor, like you just dump a whole bunch of information on the mentor. What would you say are some pitfalls that you would avoid? Let's just say someone's really excited and say, all right, I'm going to go get me a mentor. What are some things you guys say, all right, these are red flags, or these are some things that you should avoid at all costs?
Thing that comes to my mind, the first thing that comes to my mind is for the mentors to not be able to put himself or herself in the mentee's shoes, right? Because the mentor and the mentee are two different persons. We have different interests. Taking my example, for instance, even though my mentor, he's an accountant, but our interest within the accounting is very different. So let's say to have a mentor who just come and sort of push an idea on the mentee, or that idea is not aligned with the mentee's goals and objective, this can be dangerous. And if the mentee is unable to sort of dissociate, what the mentor wants and what he or she actually wants, this can create a problem within the whole mentorship relationship. And one thing that I really like about my mentor is that each time he gives me an advice, he ties it back to my goal. He would tell me like, okay, Atiya, I'm advising you on this, and this is how it will help you to bring you closer to your goal. He's not just pitching me ideas or just, giving me any advice. I know how his advice will be useful. And another trap is I remember that back when I was at my meet and greet, one of the our speaker was telling us how her mentor was not challenging her enough. Their relationship was just very was not it was the mentor's advice, or her goals was bigger than what her mentor was advising her. So being in a mentorship relationship where your mentor is not constantly challenging you, where your mentor is not constantly questioning your decision, where everything you're doing is suddenly awesome, it's great, that you won't be growing in that relationship. You want a mentor who knows that, okay, Atiya, for instance, what you're doing is not okay. It's not going to bring you closer to your goal. Stop doing that. Try this something. Challenge yourself. Take more risk. So you do want a mentorship relationship that's dynamic, that's always challenging you to take more risk, to explore your limit. And this is something that people should be careful and should watch out for.
Okay, very interesting. That's a very cool way of looking at it. I mean, looking at it from the mentor side, that's really interesting because it's a give and take relationship in a way. So if I can take it to you, Sean, let's flip it on the other edge of that coin. Let's look at it from a mentee. Let's just say someone's looking at this show, someone's watching this, they're saying, "Oh, this is really cool. This makes sense. I want to get myself a mentor." From a mentee's perspective, what are some common pitfalls or some traps that you would say, make sure you stay away from or avoid if you put yourself in the mentee's shoes?
So it can get quite tricky, especially for mentees who have never actually gone under some sort of mentorship, or have never actually looked out and searched for a mentor. I like what Atiya was saying about the mentor pushing the mentee out of their comfort zone and pushing them to their limits and exposing them to situations where they may not have had the chance before. So from a mentee's perspective, it's, I think, equally as important to have that mindset that I'm going under the guidance of this mentor. He's taking out the time, his own personal time, to help me. So I should go in with that mindset that I may be exposed to things that I'm not comfortable with, or I wasn't, or things that are outside of my comfort zone. Let me rephrase, and things that I haven't been exposed to before. So if you have that initially, if you have that mindset or that thought process going into the mentorship, then I feel the mentee will get a lot more out of it than simply them saying that, okay, now this person is going to help me and he's going to, or she's going to, fix my life or give me an amazing job. I think that mindset, while also valid, that's everybody wants that as well. While that's valid, you need to have that expectation and maybe even prepare in your mind to an extent that I'm going to be pushed to my limit. I'm going to be exposed into situations that I've never been exposed to in my life. And I think that's one insanely key aspect of mentorship that you may not find in any other aspect of society or in your life. If you're, I'll give my personal example. Growing up in Dubai in the Middle East, my life was pretty comfortable. I personally did not really push myself to the extent that I thought I should have. And one reason for that was that there wasn't, people in that society, there wasn't really any need for them to kind of go out and seek mentorships because everything was comfortable. They didn't really have that need to get out of their comfort zone and push to their limits. So I never really felt that I was exposed to situations where, I was really, my mental strength was tested, my ability to work under pressure was tested. And when I came to Canada and when I finished my undergraduate degree and I started speaking to people or working with people or kind of volunteering in other organizations where I, never really had these expectations to give previously in my life. So these kind of volunteering aspects that I did, as I mentioned before, My Voice and working in other local Oakville programs, they really pushed me and really, helped me to be a better person, not only in giving back to society, but also in my professional life, also in my personal life. I was able to deal with situations which would fluster me with much more ease now, purely because of the mentorship and guidance that I got from others who were already in these situations. So long story short, the mentee should go in with a mindset that they will be pushed to their limits. And unless they don't do that, I feel like mentorship will not be as effective as it could.
You get back what you give, right? You put in that expectation, you have that moment, and you just wanna you go into it with eyes open. So depending on the mentor that you're with, I'm sure that plays a key role as well. So awesome. If you're going in, hitting the ground running to say, let's explore uncharted territory. I've never done this. This is really scary to me, but yet you get outside that comfort zone. It's gonna work wonders. As they say, everything you ever wanted is on the opposite side of fear. That's one thing I've heard, that they say whatever ambition, you want to be successful, well, there's fear associated with everything you ever wanted is on the opposite side of fear. So that's awesome. But speaking of stories, Sister Atiya, I'm just curious, is there one particular, I know, Marshall, you have your mentor and you had a wonderful experience thus far. I'm curious, if you could pinpoint one particular instance, just to kind of give a real illustration as to how mentorship can be so impactful. Was there one situation in your life where you look back with fondness and say, yeah, because of this is truly why mentorship is super awesome and amazing? Just to kind of give a sense of people, so they have an idea of what to go into with.
I have a great story that I'll always remember all my life. It was the first time I met my mentor. His name is Cheyenne. And during that week, I was doing an internship at this super great company, and I messed up. I messed up badly, and so it was clouding me. My whole week was it felt like, I just had a cloud following me, and all I could think about when I was going to bed or when I was waking up was about that big messed up I did. And the first thing I remember when I met my mentor during that meet and greet, he was like, okay, Tia, so how can I help you? It's like, how can I help you achieve your dream, your goals? I'm here for that, so tell me. And I was like, hey, okay, you're supposed to help me with this. I messed up badly at work. This is what happened. What do I do now? And I still remember his reaction. He looked at me and he laughed. He was like, Atiya, we all mess up. Every single professional, even your manager at work, I'm sure she messed up. It's just a part of learning. It's just a part of you growing. You make a mistake, you learn from it, move on, go find another mistake to make. That's how you will grow as a professional. And this would have probably taken me years to understand the wisdom behind making mistakes at work, and to realize that this is a part of growth. What would have taken me years just took him like 5 minutes to give it to me. And this is what I'll always remember. A mentor is a shortcut to wisdom. So this is a story that I always share to all of my friends.
Oh my gosh, look at that. A mentor is a shortcut to wisdom. Make sure we get that like in bold. Look at that. A mentor is a shortcut to wisdom. Oh, look at that. Right on cue. Amazing. Awesome stuff. Shout out to the behind the scenes folk at Muslim Network TV. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Look at that. See, there you go. This is one example of where you can get that aha moment, and it doesn't cost an arm and a leg. It's just sometimes you have that light bulb scenario, light bulb moment where you don't need to just go through the trenches. You know, I'm sure you all heard the same adage of you don't have to touch a stove to know it's hot, right? You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to go through all this turmoil to kind of get the juice. So awesome story. Glad to hear that you look back at this with fondness, and you still have that strong connection until today. What was his name again? Sorry, his name, it wasn't Sean. I heard something else. It was similar.
Cheyenne.
Cheyenne. Okay, I was gonna say either Sean and Cheyenne. I was like, you know what, it's gonna got you. It both starts with SH. So, Sean, if I can kindly ask, do you have a story? I know you shared a story, but I'm curious, is there that aha moment for you that you really look back and say, this is really like, it was a life-changing situation for me, either as a mentor or as a mentee? Do you have something that you can share out of curiosity that you look back and say, wow, this is super awesome, and it actually, looking back at it now, really changed the trajectory of my life?
Definitely. I'll speak to this in over a couple of points. So there was an overall sense that mentorship helped me in a long term, like looking at it from a long term manner. You know, sometimes you don't realize when something is helping you until you look back at it a year or 2 years later. And one thing that I found was the advice that I got from people who were trying to help me, you know, get my routine better, get myself in a better frame of mind. They always mention one thing, which is it's all it takes is small habits every day. If you can change your small habits every single day, 6 months, 7 months later, you're going to look back and you're going to go like, wow, I completely changed my life. But during those 6 months, you don't really feel that. So I think one overall kind of guidance that I got was, don't look at change or don't look at improving your life as such a daunting, holistic, thing from a macro lens. Look at it as small, minute changes that you can do on a daily basis, and from then you can see 7, 8 months later, you look back, you're going to find yourself a different person. So that's kind of a general moment for me, which made me realize that, wow, mentorship is insane. You know, everyone should kind of get this sort of guidance and this sort of mentorship from people who have been in this situation before. And secondly, going in a more local manner, I had a kind of a debacle at the start of the pandemic regarding my professional job, and I was not too happy in that role, and I was kind of looking to change positions, and I was very close to leaving my job and throwing caution to the wind and trying to see if I can find some greener pasture somewhere. But I was told by my brother-in-law, and he kind of he didn't predict the economic situation would go down, but he kind of said that, hey, maybe you should hold on for now, just keep all your cards in your hand and then see how the situation is in a few months. And just because of that one decision, I changed my future, the trajectory that I was going to go to. I kind of postponed a few of my plans. And just because of listening to him, I realized that I kind of completely saved my own skin. Basically, if I hadn't done that and if I was left floundering in the middle of a pandemic, it would have been a lot worse. So one side, mentoring has helped me to in a holistic way. And the second side is that mentoring has helped me in a specific manner by making me take a specific decision. So mentorship can come in all forms. And I think it's unbelievable. And I would just like to quickly touch upon also a aha moment that I had with the mentors and mentees in Pakistan. So the students in Pakistan, after we finished our 12-week program just last week, the principal actually messaged us and told us how amazed she was and how proud she was of the students at the end of their program, because they gave their final group presentation, which was part of what we had asked them to do. So after they gave their presentations, the principal was so pleasantly encouraged by seeing how the mentees' confidence, their pronunciation, their ability to present themselves and to present their point of view in a concise manner, how they're able to do that. So that was very encouraging for me and for the TMP team. We were really, really grateful and satisfied that at least at the end of this is kind of like our moment where we realize that the program is making some sort of difference.
Amazing. It's always those little moments that add up, and just hearing something like what you do actually matters. I think it really not only puts a smile on your face, but also has some fuel and juice. That's amazing. Good, awesome. Thank you for sharing those light bulb moments. And you never know, right? Like how you take it. The one thing I will say about advice is that the nature of advice is that you only know if it's good or bad after you've taken it. That's the problem. If there was only, I mean, only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the future, so we don't have a crystal ball or anything like that to foresee and say like this, that, and the other. But the only way that you can truly know if advice was really good or bad in hindsight is to take it. So that's the only thing. So as we're nearing the end of this amazing, amazing conversation, wanted to kindly touch upon a couple of last minute things. Sister Atiya, if I can ask you, as a way to kind of put a nice little bow tie in all this, can you share with us, and I purposely left this towards the end, and I know you kind of had a really nice, awesome line of what mentorship is, but we talked about mentorship, and somebody might be wondering, like, what is a mentor exactly? What is a mentor all about? What's this, like, how do you consider, like, what do you look for in a mentor? Can you talk a little bit about Max mentorship? And if you have some final advice that you would say, some golden piece of advice, what would it be? So what is a mentor? Talk about Max mentorship, and final parting words. Love to hear from you about this.
So I would start by talking about Max mentorship, and then you'll see how it all ties in on what a mentor is. So Max mentorship, Max Mentors started back in 2017, and we identified that young Muslim professionals were having difficulty in, sort of like 3 points. We didn't have access to social capital. We don't have the network. So, which means that, our network is not about what they all say, it's not about what it's about who you know. So that was one of the obstacles that our youth, like young Muslim professionals, face. A second problem with that we identified is that we do not have a young Muslim professional do not have the knowledge, or we do not have the necessary skills that can help us get that job or get that promotion. So this is one of the barriers that we have. And another one is we don't have role models. We don't have people we can look up to, or we don't have job shadowing opportunities that can help us grow, and climb the corporate ladders. So by identifying all those little points, we decided to, we realized that there is a need out there. So that's why we started Max Mentors back in 2017 to give a young Muslim professional a mentor that can help them with all these 3 aspects. So this is what a mentor is, right? So a mentor is your mentor's network is your network. So your mentor will the role of a mentor is to open opportunities, open doors for you. Your mentor is here to help you develop your technical skill as well as your social skill. When you go to work, it's not about, okay, do you know how to audit? It's all, for instance, if you're in accounting, but it's also about, okay, how do you develop your relationship with your colleagues, with clients? Those are soft skills that we don't necessarily learn at school. And those are important, skills that will help you advance in your career. Or at Max we have career development workshop. For instance, last year 2020 we had a career development workshop on how to craft an elevator pitch. We had a career development workshop on how to prepare ourselves for interviews. So we provide all these tools. We give you access to a mentor for a 1-year program where you meet your mentor every month. Plus, it's free. That will help you build your career. Who's going to shadow you for the 1-year program? We provide Max provide the mentees with tools to help them better prepare for the job market. We also have events, theme event. For instance, previously we had event on mental wellness, where we invite different professional within that field who's going to come and talk about that specific subject. And by going through that event, not only are you meeting professional, you're learning about about a new subject, but you're also networking. So we're creating a network for young Muslim professionals that they can take advantage of. So this is pretty much what we do at Max. And application will be open soon, for January 15, for Ottawa, Vancouver, Edmonton, and Toronto. So make sure you check out our website. And for Montreal, application is already open. So please check our website on maxgala.com to apply and take advantage of this program.
Wow, 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 wow. Look at that. Lots of stuff, man. For Max, Montreal, lots of things. Amazing, amazing. So lots of opportunities your way. So even though it's 20, I know with 2020 it was quite a bit of a downer, but 2021, look at that. High hopes, big things. It was maxgala.com, right? maxgala.com, right? So maxgala.com. That's one way to look at. Maybe we'll save the end for the advice. Maybe I could leave it to you. So with Sean, if you can talk to me, man. I know you had phenomenal success. You're starting with humble beginnings with the mentoring program. Talk to us a little bit about that, and walk us through it. What is through that process? How would you also define what a mentor is? And then maybe we can conclude with a nice little segue into final parting words of advice and call it a day. So, what would you say is a mentor based on what the mentoring program is all about?
All right. So based on our experiences so far, whatever we've experienced and what we've been exposed to over the past 3 or 4 months since we started, I think there are two key aspects to a mentor that we are looking for right now in the mentoring program. One is you have to be patient. You have to be extremely cognizant of the fact that these students are from societies that are not that well versed in English and may not be as comfortable in speaking to you in English. So patience is key in being a mentor. Without patience, you will never be a good mentor. It's as simple as that. And secondly, it has to be a non-transactional relationship. You can't expect your mentee to give you something back just because you're mentoring them. That defeats the whole purpose of mentoring. Mentoring is supposed to be selfless. You're supposed to be helping the person purely out of the goodness of your heart, so that they can have a better leg to stand on in life and to get ahead in life. So those are two kind of attributes that we were looking for in our mentors. And I'll just quickly go through the process of how we actually went about and got the cohort started. So we reached out to a foundation in Pakistan called Akhuwat Foundation, and they're a microfinance based organization, and they have a bunch of schools as well. They have a whole education sector, and we're very grateful for them to give us the partnership and to give us the opportunity to work with their students. So we got 26 students, all female. They're English majors in BS English in Punjab, Pakistan. And two areas which our mentoring program focused on, and I was telling Atiya this earlier, was English skills, to help the mentees practice their English with the mentors who live abroad and within Pakistan. And secondly, to help them to improve their communication skills. Basically, as I mentioned this before, we want them to be able to sell themselves. Communication and being able to bring all your attributes, box yourself up into the perfect package for when you go to apply to a university, apply to a job, or even if you're just in a social setting. So those are kind of two areas which we're focusing on primarily. And it's a 13-week program. It's once a week, 1 hour a week, and one-on-one. And all the sessions are done on Zoom. We have everything scheduled beforehand. We have a WhatsApp group that the mentors can speak to us about if there's any issues. If there's any issues with the mentee specifically, we reach out to the school directly and try to get that sorted, in a timely manner. And alhamdulillah, it's going so well that we've now had 17 more students who've signed on, and we have a few more schools in Sindh, Pakistan that run a couple of institutions that have, I believe, 3,000 students. So we are in talks with them now. So hopefully our goal is that everybody around the world who needs mentorship is able to get one. We're not necessarily saying that every person in the world needs to have a mentor. That's not, it might not even be feasible. But what we're saying is that any person in the world who wants to have a mentor, they should be able to. And like I mentioned before, we were in a pandemic, and this whole idea of working from home and e-learning and using technology, that kind of kindled this idea in our heads. And the fact that it's all done online and done through Zoom is a testament to the fact that it's accessible to a lot more people, I would think, rather than have mentorship programs where you're looking for local mentors or mentors in your area. You can now just go on the website, www.thementoringprogram.com, sign up as a mentor, and there you go, you started. And as a mentee, similarly, you can, we have a mentee application form where you fill in your likes, dislikes, hobbies, etc., and we can set you up with a mentor in that sense. So it's a very early stages where I wouldn't say we've perfected our syllabus so far, but as I mentioned, the feedback has been pretty positive. We're very excited to continue growing and to continue scaling up and learning a lot from organizations such as Max Mentors, who have such a huge and amazing footprint already in Canada, and organizations such as My Voice Canada, which kind of taught me the ABCs about mentoring when I first got here. So I would really, appreciate if anybody's interested in being a mentor, taking 1 hour of your week. Visit us on thementoringprogram.com. You can visit our social media at the Mentoring Program. And we're entering a different phase of society. I think the world is becoming a lot more interconnected. And if one way the world is going to become more interconnected is if we have mentors from across the world, then I think that's a very positive thing.
Man, with every crisis comes new opportunity. So there you go, man. Amazing. So there's the mentoring program there and ready to go. Amazing, amazing stuff. So just to kindly put a bow tie on all this, I hate to say it, but all good things must come to an end. Just to kind of have some parting words or parting advice. Let's start with you, Sean. If someone's watching this right now, let's just say a young brother, Muslim youth, he's gearing up, he's spinning his wheels, and he's unsure about what to do with himself, but he wants to have a mentor. What advice would you say to him, or what would you say to someone who wants to be a mentor themselves? So someone who's looking for one and someone who wants to be one. What would you say as your parting words of advice to either of those?
So for the mentee, very quickly, I don't want to harp on this constantly, but I will stress the mentee should be willing to step out of their comfort zone. I think that's what separates a good person from a great person. So if a mentee is about to set off, onto their journey, they're about to finish their undergraduate degree, they should have that mindset and reach out to other mentors or reach out to people who may help them with the idea that it may be something that they've never done before. It may be something that they're not prepared for, but they should take the plunge. And secondly, for the mentors, it's unbelievably rewarding to give back to somebody someone who's in a less fortunate position than you. There've been countless studies done on this, that volunteering and giving back is great for mental health, and it's great for actually improving one's own self. Both of you may know this, that when you're tutoring somebody or when you're teaching somebody a concept, it actually helps you to better understand that concept and to better perfect that in your own head. Similarly, mentoring someone else not only helps the mentee, it enriches the mentor as well. So I really do think that if a mentor, mentors are also in positions of kind of, they're in a stalling situation where they're not really sure what's happening in their lives. It doesn't necessarily have to be a college kid. It could be somebody who's in their 30s, mid 30s, who kind of have hit a dead end or a plateau and they're not really feeling what they're doing anymore in their life. Go ahead, volunteer, give back, give 1 hour of a week to somebody, and I promise you, it will make a positive difference.
Amazing stuff there. In learning, you will teach, and in teaching, you will learn. Man, oh man, I got the awesome. So now for the curtain call, Sister Atiya, mashallah, there's a sister watching this right now. She's unsure about herself. She doesn't know what to do with herself. She's unsure about the next step. she wants to be mentored, or maybe she wants to be a mentor, what parting words of advice would you say to either one of those people in that position, who wants to be a mentee or who wants to be a mentor?
Apply at Max is just two different forms if you want to be a mentor and if you want to be a mentee. But for a mentee, starting at your career, or whether you're looking to transition in your career, you don't have to figure this alone. You don't have to be by yourself and trying to Google for an answer. So going and seeking out a mentor who you can trust, who that the advice is reliable and credible. You are sure that when you're taking a step, it's a solid and a sure step. You're not just gambling your future. You know that you have the backup behind you. You have someone to support you, guide you, and it makes you feel more confident as a young professional when you're entering the job market. And from the perspective of a mentor, by God grace, we have an amazing pool of mentor here, and with Max we have mentors in different fields, whether it's in business, medicine, art, fashion, you name it. We have mentors. And one thing that always come up when we talk to a mentor is that they always say that they wish they had a program like Max when they were starting their career. They wish they had a mentor to shadow them. They wish they had someone they could look up to. They wish they had, people, someone they could trust, and someone that they could have asked advice to. So when our mentors sign up, it's they always say it's a rewarding feeling. For them, it's a rewarding feeling to see that mentee that they have been coaching, grow throughout their career. When they see the mentee, passing an exam or getting that job promotion or developing a new skill, it's a rewarding feeling for them. And just to sort of echo what Sean said, when they say not only that while coaching, that mentor is also learning. Mentors are usually senior professional, and as senior professional, one of the skill that usually people look into is that making sure that professional has a very good coaching skill, can coach the juniors. So when you're mentoring, the mentor is also benefiting from that relationship, in the sense that he or she is developing he's developing his coaching skill, his leadership, his communication skill, while giving back to his or her community. So I highly encourage everyone, mentor and mentee, to apply and to benefit from that mentorship program, from a mentorship program.
Look at that. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Both of you, Sean and Atiya, thank you both so much for sharing your experience, your knowledge about this whole crucial topic about mentorship. Masha, I think it's safe to say at the end, it's not a bad idea to get a mentor. I think it's something worthwhile. It turns decades into days, and that's awesome to hear. So thank you both so much, Brother Sean, Sister Atiya. Wishing you both all the best. And Sean is from the mentoring program, and Atiya is from Max, Montreal Max. So there you go. And we have that for you. Now for the viewers, I want to talk to you for a second. Let me talk to you for a second. Mashallah, the thing about mentorship, I know the biggest thing these days is talking about how important it is to find a mentor. And although with COVID-19, things are more difficult, it was tough enough before COVID to find someone who is actually willing to step up and show you the ropes. But the one thing I will say, one thing I will humbly offer as a starting point, when we're talking about mentorship, maybe we can think a little bit outside the box, just a little bit. And one way is you don't have to have a physical human being with you, like as a mentor. Read their books. Read some books, watch YouTube videos of really important, awe-inspiring individuals. That's one way you can indirectly get mentorship. Is it the same as somebody who's going to guide you along the way? Probably not, but it's something better than nothing. So if anyone is saying, well, I can't find someone to help me mentor, well, first of all, we have these two very viable options right here on the show that was presented to you, right? But if that isn't the case, just one more humble offer is books and YouTube videos. Believe me, that also is a big deal. These days, everyone's going virtual, but yet you can still make do with it. And remember, in learning, you will teach, and in teaching, you will learn. And so, awesome show today. Hope you all enjoyed it. If this is your first time, this is your brother Muhammad Maxwell Hassan with Canada Today Youth Edition. Tune in on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And with that, stay strong, stay safe, and stay proud to be Muslims. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.